Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought we'd make this fun little penny black Snuggles card. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be using this adorable penny black image today, and you get a sentiment with this as well. This is a cute little set. We're going to be modifying it slightly today, but I'm going to be doing my stamping on the Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, and I've placed the image in my We Are Memory Keepers stamp positioner. And this is a peg alignment system, so I'm just going to press down and pick up that image. And for the stamping, we're using the Versafine Vintage Sepia ink. This is a permanent dye ink. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in the brown. Now, I did want to keep the image brown. I just thought it would be a little bit softer to stamp it in the brown. But I am going to stamp it twice just to make sure we have a nice crisp image here. So I'm going to stamp this one more time. And now using dark brown, oatmeal, light pink, and my blender pen from my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. These are a water-based marker. I'm going to start with that light pink. I'm just cleaning off my blender pen before I get started, and I'm going to blend that pink out just a little bit here. And to change colors, you want to clean that blender pen. And now I'm starting with the light color, which is the oatmeal, and then I'm adding a little bit of the dark brown. And I'm going to start with a light hand here just to kind of see how much of that dark brown that I want. So you can always add more later. And I'm just loosening up that brown color along the edges there and pulling it in towards the center. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, starting with the lighter color, adding a little bit of that darker brown where my shadow is going to be, and then I'm just pulling that up. And when I do the animals, I like to use a little bit of a circular motion because it makes it look a little bit more like fur. So again, just start off with a light coating of everything. Just kind of see how you like it. Again, you can always go back and add more color. If you want to add more shadowing, you can always add more of the dark brown as you go along. So I wanted to keep the face the lightest here. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up the arms, kind of keeping that shadow down towards the bottom of his arm here. And if you get too much color, just clean it off on your scrap paper there so you can keep blending and removing color as much as you want to. And again, I'm just going to add some little shadows here. Now I'm not going to color in that little hedgehog because we are going to be cutting that out. So now I'm going back and I'm just blending out those cheeks a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut this image out, and I'm cutting right up to the line here. And I am going to cut away the little hedgehog. So I'm just following the lines of the bear here. And now I want to create a little slot in between his arms here because we're going to be putting a little heart in there. So I'm just cutting down in there a little bit just to separate his little paws. So you can see that up close. Now these are the frames. We're going to use that second largest frame. And again, these are from Penny Black's Creative Dies. And these are called the ribbon stackers. And we're going to die cut 2 of these, again out of the Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. So we want to keep the frame and the insert for one of those and the second frame. So that's all we need there is one of the inserts and the 2 frames. We can set the other aside for another project. So now using my Distress Oxide ink in the Gathered Twigs and my foam applicator tool, I'm going to go all the way around the edges of this little piece here. And a little bit, I'm coming in towards the center, keeping the center white. And just doing a little bit of extra color on the corners there. Now we have the two frames. I'm going to take one of those frames and that center that we just colored in, and I'm using my Shimmer Spritz spray in the frost color, and this is just going to give this paper a beautiful shimmer effect. So you do want to make sure you shake it up really well, and then I'm spritzing it across the cardstock here, and this is going to give it this beautiful shine. I did want to heat set it with my heat tool very quickly here, and you can see that beautiful shimmer that we get. So now I want to glue that shimmery frame to this second frame. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Gina K Connect Glue and attach these two together. And by gluing these two together, that'll give a little bit more substance to this frame. So you can see that it's going to sit right inside our frame. I'm going to set that aside for now, and I'm going to my Lawn Fawn Candy Hearts dies, and I want the one that says Hugs, and I want the solid one as well. Again, using my Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock, I'm going to run these through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. So I've got both of those die cut, and that one cuts the word Hugs right out of there. So you could keep those little letters for another project. We're not going to need those today. But for this lower portion, the solid heart, I'm going to spritz that with a little bit of that shimmer spray as well, so that everything kind of coordinates together. And when we stack these together, you're going to see that beautiful shimmer underneath. And you can see that there. So now I'm going to stack these together, but first I want to color in this top one. So I'm using Festive Berries and Spun Sugar, again from the Distress Oxide inks. And I'm going to just apply the Spun Sugar all over. Just a nice even coating. And then with the Festive Berries, I'm just going to go right around the edge here. And you can see that up close. So now we can go ahead and stack these two together. And you will see that beautiful shimmer coming from the bottom solid heart. So now I've got this panel and my frame and my little bear. So I just kind of want to see where my sentiment is going to go. So I'm going back to my little stamp positioner here. I'm going to place that in the positioner, and then using my Tombow mini glue tape, I'm going to just attach this just so it doesn't move around, just so it holds it in place while I do my stamping. And we'll easily be able to remove that from here once we're done. So my little sentiment says, "This hug's for you." I'm going to center that up towards the top here. And I'm pressing down and picking up that stamp. And I'm going to go ahead and ink it up again using that vintage sepia ink. And you can see that up close. So now I'm going to tuck that little heart in between his paws here. And I do want to make sure I cover that little notch in his cheek. When we cut out the little hedgehog, it does leave a little notch there. So you want to make sure you put glue on the paws, on the front of that right one and on the back of the left one. And then you want to make sure you cover that little notch in his cheek there. So just move it around until you get it positioned where you want it. And I'm going to let that sit and dry. So now that's going to sit behind this frame on the bottom and in front of the frame up towards the top here. So I'm going to put some glue down along that bottom edge. And I'm going to tuck that right in there. And again, the top part, the heart and his head are going to be on the outer part of the frame. So once I have that positioned in place, I can go ahead and add a little bit of glue behind the heart and behind his little ear here. And again, I'm going to let that dry. So that bear just sticks out just a little bit under the frame, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that away. Now this panel is going to sit behind the frame. So for right now, I'm just going to add glue to the bear and the heart, not to the frame, because we're not attaching that to the card yet. And you can skip that left part of the heart there, because that is also not going to get attached yet. So we're basically just adding glue to this little bear. And we're going to just make sure we spend a little bit of time here lining up that panel. And it'll fit right in place there. So I'm setting that aside. Now with a 5" by 3 1/4" panel of the Bristol Smooth cardstock, I'm going back to that sentiment and I'm going to go ahead and stamp "This Hug's for You" all over the background of this little piece of cardstock here. So I'm going back to the vintage sepia ink pad, and I just kind of want to make this look a little bit random. I'm going to go straight across, and then I'm going to kind of offset that next layer, just a little bit offset so it looks a little bit random. And then I'm going to work my way all the way up this panel. And I am inking each time just to make sure I have a nice coating of ink on there. So you can see that panel's complete. And don't be too fussy. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can go on an angle as well if you feel more comfortable with that. Sometimes it is easier to go on an angle. So now I've gone back to my Gathered Twigs ink and my foam applicator, and I'm going to go all around this panel as well, just leaving that center white. This is going to sit on my standard A2 size card, which measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm using my Scotch ATG 700 permanent tape to attach this to my card. And as always, I will list all of the supplies I used in today's video down below, so just check underneath or on my blog for a list of supplies. So I'm centering this on my card, and then I'm going to go ahead and center this little bear on my card as well. And now I can apply that glue all over this panel as well as the frame. And I'm centering the frame on here. And once I have that lined up, I'm using just a piece of scrap paper here or paper towel just to press that down. Now these little embellishments are from Queen & Company, and again I will give you all that information, and they're these cute little 3-dimensional hearts. So I'm using my Marvy jewel picker just to pick these up. It makes it really easy. It has like a sticky end on it, and it's very easy to pick up these little embellishments. And then I'm going to add a little dot of that Connect glue behind each of these. And these are kind of like pink around the edges and sort of a creamy color inside, so they match perfectly to this card. Now using my Jelly Roll gel pens in black and white, with the black I'm just going to darken his eyes and nose. Because we did stamp in the brown, I just thought that the eyes and nose should be a little bit darker just to make them pop out a little bit more. And then with the white, I'm going to add some highlights all around my little bear here. And just add these wherever you want. And I'm adding a few to the heart as well. So I made this card for a friend who's feeling a little bit down, so I thought this might be a nice little pick-me-up to send her a hug. But it would also make a really cute thinking of you or birthday card. So have fun with this. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. As always, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.